And we are live. Welcome, everyone. Episode 2 of Gab and Collab. Lenore, hey, I see you out there. If you want to come on the panel today, you can. We're just talking about color stuff, you know. Let's see. So let's introduce the panel today. We got all 4 of us from last week. We got Ink Spots. Hello, Ink Spots. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Wax my chest this morning.
Ooh.
Yeah, feel great.
Nice.
Sorry, Spotty.
What are you working on this week?
What's that?
What are you working on this week?
A hard on.
Oh.
No, I've been knocking out pages of Cash Grab, the hit Indiegogo independent campaign.
And so that book's going to get delivered, huh?
Supposedly.
Right.
Just because I'm doing the pages doesn't mean that you're ever going to see the book. So you just want to be to make sure you know that. So.
Well, I mean, you got to keep up pretenses. You can't be, you know.
It also doesn't mean I'm ever going to see a paycheck. He wanted me to know that too.
Great. Yeah, you know, PayPal has this awesome function where you create an invoice. If you create a business account, because you can transition your PayPal, your personal PayPal, to a business PayPal, and you can create an invoice template and send an email with an invoice with a total and all that. They click pay, and it just boop.
Yep, that's what I do. You can even put a nice little Ink Spots logo on that invoice.
Yeah,
and then make sure you connect that to my bank account, guys, and then I'll give you the money when it hits my account. Yeah.
And then we got Michael Beacon. Hey, brother, how are you? What are you working on this week?
This week I'm going to be working on Tales from the Matverse, the Royal Rumble story. So
nice.
Yeah. And also finishing up fulfillment on 7 Legions for the stuff that's already been bought. So, yeah.
Dude, that's got to feel good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mailing out packs like that.
Especially, like, I've started to see people getting their books. So that was like, especially where it's like, you know, they write in great condition and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's awesome. And then we've got my brother in arms, my fellow Scott.
Hey, Spartan, I got to get out of here. I got to restart because Photoshop.
Yeah, no problem.
Went
Just
wacky.
I'll pop you back in when you get in.
All right, bye.
So what you working on, Cap?
This week, more Xenotype. I've got some not Daredevil stuff that I've managed to figure out a process of recoloring old comics, which is, fuck me, that's been a pain in my ass the past week, trying to get that process nailed down so that it's viable, printable, and sexy looking and all that sort. But I've got it. I think I've got it.
Nice.
Yeah. So
now that was that thing where we're stripping out the color.
Yeah. But the problem is you're also working with online files, so they're fucking 72 dpi.
Oh shit.
Pain in the ass. Yeah, so you have to convert the file, then you have to. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You play with the levels, you take all the shit away, then you have to make it all sexy again. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem with it that I've discovered is I can't do it because it's so old. The comics are so old and the scans are so different. I can't do it page by page. I actually have to go panel by panel. And then flatten the page so that I've got a page to then finish with. But fuck, Jesus.
Yeah,
it'll get done.
Slow process. Sounds like.
It's actually not. The hardest part of it was all last week, trying to figure out exactly how to do it. And how to do it in a way that I think looks good enough to be put back into a new book. But I'm there now. I think I've got it. I'm pretty much nailed down that I've got it. Mark's happy, which is the main thing. He's the man behind the book, so fingers crossed. And I want to start a painting.
Oh, well, I mean, sometimes you need a little bit of chicken soup for the soul of your own work. You know what I mean?
Well, all this digital, we've got to go analog sometime.
You got to.
That's what I've decided to call it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not calling it.
Take a swim in Lake U once in a while. Is what my wife says.
Ooh. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I can go with that. But I've taken to calling it analog art now because I've figured out that if I keep calling it traditional art, someone's going to call me a Nazi.
Oh yeah. Like like you're an elitist. You're like, yeah, these fucking digital artists. Back in my day, we used implements with our hands.
Mm-hmm.
Children know nothing of that.
But I've prepped 2 canvases. One of them's a coffee table, the other one's a skateboard, so I'll just pick one later.
Oh damn, okay. So you're using not just like canvas, you're using like
Oh, I've got it all,
objects.
mate. I've got some nice little canvases. I've got a couple of nice big ones to work on. I've got some wooden boards. The Cecil painting I did was on a wooden board, which I really liked. I really like using that. I've never painted on that before, and it was great fun. But yeah, when we moved in here, which 5 years ago, I built a coffee table out of pallets, and it's just looking a bit sad, so it needs updating. So I'm gonna basically put a mural on the top of it and then epoxy resin it.
Nice.
So it's all nice and sexy and full of stuff that we love.
Well,
Mrs. F
excellent.
and me, not you.
So we got Matt Planet Tobor in the chat, and we got Simon. You coming in here today, Simon? The link is in the chat if you want to. In the room. So, well, anyway, we came together today. You know, today is our our episode on flatting. Flatting is that inglorious, ever so vital step in the coloring process.
Mm-hmm.
After we set up our pages, we get them the resolution proper. We decide what program we're going to work in. We need to now break them up into little selectable zones and lay out their flat colors and local colors, right? So what do you guys think about flatting? Michael Beacon.
I usually do it sort of like as a, for selection and everything, and I also, like if I'm doing it for like a client, then I'll sort of like, it'll be sort of like a starting stage, like a prototype almost, like what the color's going to look like. Just asking like, hey, are these colors for this character correct? Is this good? And all that, and then, but yeah, it's a good foundation to build off of for the rest of the color work.
Right. Now, some people, I've got a book over here, how to color comics, that came out in the 90s with a CD-ROM in the back of it. And some people would tell you that color or flats are not just selections, but also, the beginnings of allocating what colors go with what characters. But then again, some people just use them as merely selections only. And you could have pink and purple and green and yellow and all kinds of shit. As long as the colors are different enough to where you can use a magic wand and select a zone, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But it really depends on the colorist and, and the process that they use. So, Welcome back to the stream, Ink Spots. How are you, bud?
Great. Yeah, I love it when your computer wants to crash when it's been working all morning, right when you get on stream. So, yeah, beautiful.
Don't you love that shit? It's the greatest.
Oh,
nice. Oh,
so what are you guys talking about on here? What did I miss?
We were talking about flatting as a topic. We were just kind of going around the horn. We were talking about, as before you left, we were talking about our projects we're working on, and it looks like Lucius is ready to come in.
Nice.
And we've got Sysrest Ripix out in the chat. Chuck Keyworth, hey buddy. Lucius in the chat as well. SC Tonics and Changus Khan, my boy Changus. What's up, brother? Well, great. So today I kind of want to go over. We talked about 4 programs, and all 4 of us use different programs to flatten. And
you mean 3 of you used the wrong one?
Well, yeah, I guess you and Sim can be on that clip studio bus there, whatever. I'm jealous because I don't know how to use it very well. I haven't really delved into clip, and I know once I do, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm probably gonna use that forever.
Yeah, it's a great program for drawing. I use it for drawing, but for colors, I'm just too used to Photoshop and too stubborn and old to switch. So,
yeah, that's the thing. You just get tied to a program, and it's like I don't have the time to relearn another workflow right now. If I don't have a project, maybe yeah, but when I'm in the midst of a project that's got a tight deadline, I got to go with what I know, which is Photoshop. So, all right. Well, so in order to kind of, move things forward, I wanted to do each one of us. Michael Beacon uses Krita.
Yep.
Cap uses, apparently he's an elitist for Clip Studio. And Inkspot's Photoshop, and I use Procreate. So we've got a rare look at 4 different programs, all viable. Michael Beacon's being free, so all of you people who are on a budget, look up Krita, and basically go through and feature a piece of art, piece of line art, maybe something that nobody's ever seen before, or something you've already colored. Just create a new flats layer and show what tool you use, how you go about setting the page up after making the resolution, but putting your layers together and blend modes and stuff like that, and then what you do to flat. Just a couple minutes. Welcome to the stream, Lucius.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, we're just talking about flats and how to make them, and I know you're a digital painter, so you're not quite a flatting guy.
Well, I use it for, reasons of like what you talk about, blocking out, everything like that. I wouldn't say necessarily I've done it as like an occupation or a service for anybody. I've only been doing my own stuff, so I learn as I go. I use Procreate, like front to back, like that's all I got. So that's what I'm familiar with as far as it goes. But I probably don't have the same like background as you guys, or the same approach necessarily either.
Well, that's what this is all about, man. I want to week over week try to get other colorists in here, people who color their own work, color other people's work, who have different styles, different approaches, different thought processes, and throw everything in the middle, and maybe people can pick out some techniques that they didn't know before. You know what I mean? Maybe they learn about a program they never heard of before. So that's what this is all about. Everyone on the panel as well as anybody watching. So looks like Michael Beacon shared his screen to demo how to flat in Krita. So
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. So what I do when I start out, if I've got just one layer as line art, add another layer, put it underneath the line art layer, set the line art layer over here to multiply. And then I go in and start flatting. First, I just lay down a color, normally a grayish blue. And I'm just quickly choosing one just as an example, but I just lay it down like that. And then, Krita has this really good brush. But when you first get Krita downloaded, you're gonna want to make a duplicate of this brush and turn off the anti-aliasing. Or is it turn? I forget if it's turn off or turn on, but like make it so that it's like solid pixels. Yeah, turn off anti-aliasing. Yeah. So this tool here, the shapes fill, I'll show you. Oh wait, no, I have to choose another color. Okay, so I'll just real quick choose bright colors so you can see it clear. There you go. Yeah. So this is great for like if you got like a solid, like a straight line. You want to an object with a straight line. You can always see where it's going to end up. You just sort of like go through and
Well, you're like dragging a sheet and unfurling a cloth of color.
Yep. Yeah, this is why I love Krita. I mean, Clip Studio has a similar tool, except you're not seeing what it's going to end up like as you're doing the brush strokes. So it just makes flatting go a lot faster.
Interesting. And now, so you leave your line art at 100%, huh? You don't reduce its opacity?
Yep. No,
Now, are you going like 1 pixel under it? Or are you going right to the edge of the black?
yeah, I'm going like aiming for like about that.
It's like Beacon's getting a little bit of lag there.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's yeah.
So, hi everyone.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the stream, Sam. Hey, bud. So basically, we're having a Beacon do a
Hello.
little demo how to flat in Krita.
Yeah, I know.
A free program, which is great.
I'm looking.
So,
Yeah.
so when you get color next to color, so is the dark blue, is that on a separate layer or is that on the same layer as the one you're doing right now?
Same.
So you're cutting into color you've already laid down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so sometimes what I'll do is like I'll have one color selected for characters, foreground objects, stuff like that, like as the starting point, and then just sort of like build on top of those with more detailed colors. So yeah, there's no like real. It's like yeah, so that so there's no real gaps in it or anything.
Got it. Nice. And Optimus Deadpool out in the chat. Yes, this is where the gay boys come to color.
Where the gay boys go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like them colors.
Yeah.
Now is the time you're supposed to say fabulous in your voice, Inkspots.
Oh,
So, quick
that's
question:
Fabulous.
how's my
Yeah.
new mic coming in?
Sound great.
Yeah,
Sound great. Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. Sounds very different.
And we got
Almost didn't
Zaid
recognize
Cox
you.
in the chat says, Scotsman's smooth face makes him look 25. Well, to be 25 again. Oh, for
Oh
fuck's
God, no! Fuck off! Fuck right off! I wouldn't want to be that age again.
Nah, I was a
No.
complete asshole at 25. I'm only a partial asshole.
Yep, that's the way I look at it.
Okay, so you're an asshole with experience,
That's right.
and so
I
a
know
little
how to
bit, a little
wield
bit
my
of wisdom. Yeah, you got a little bit of wisdom in there.
Yeah, I know how to wield my asshole properly now.
Now you're an asshole with good intention.
That's right. That's right. So, so how do you attack a page, Michael? Do you, when you start off, you throw out a big flat color just to fill the entire page to get some tone out there, and then do you usually go for backgrounds first, or do you go for characters first?
Did you guys address the reason why we put like a flat color in the background before doing colors?
No. Did you say why you fill the entire page first?
Basically, just like to start setting the tone. Like a bluish gray is sort of like a good starting point. Yeah, trying to think how I explained it before, but
You're looking at it from the perspective you're going to be coloring this page. So
yeah,
you're flatting it like you would like it to be given to you from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Nice. Okay. Now, can you zoom in on one of the characters, like one of those small characters, and show how you transition from like shape to shape? You know, when objects are up against each other.
Okay. So go over to Bender here.
Bender.
Yeah. So I'll choose a gray. This is just a real quick selection of colors. Just
Okay, for everybody watching, it's not actually Bender; it's a Bender look-alike. You know, I don't want to get sued.
Oh, this is Sim's work right here. It's interesting that you get to see that connection point from start to end, and you can see where it's going to close the loop.
Yep, that's why I love this tool.
So wow, so you do an entire run through in one go.
As much as I can. Like if it's too big of an object, then I'll break it down into parts. But,
That's ballsy, son.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
this
just like
dude's into torture.
What if what if your computer has a pop-up message? Does it interrupt that and draw a straight line in the middle of this big complex selection?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucked up.
It kind of looks like you're playing an old Atari game.
Missile command.
Bender's second cousin, Blender.
Remember the old Snake game on the phone? One of the first.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I miss my Nokia 6600.
Yeah.
I think that was the first phone game, right? The Snake thing.
It was, yeah.
So that's an interesting tool. So, now, okay.
And so then, once I have the character, the basic shape of the character flatted, go in, select the color, and I'll choose a different color. I'm just choosing a slightly darker gray, and select out the parts that aren't that base tone.
Okay.
Just go in and select those out. And then I think the antenna might be slightly darker. So
Now I see you're making bigger movements outside of the selection. So
yep.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, the program takes a while because streaming at the same time.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So then go back to the brush, select the brown for the cigar.
And is there, what is the name of that brush? And is it a default?
Yeah, it's one of the default brushes that comes with the program. It's Shapes Fill.
Shapes Fill. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so Michael Beacon is flatting a page in Krita. He has filled the page with a solid tone. He's went in with the Shapes Fill brush, and he's said in the beginning, when you first install Krita, you want to duplicate that brush, turn off its anti-alias, and then break each one of the objects into smaller shapes.
Yep.
Excellent. So it looks to function similar to Photoshop. It just has, and Clip, it just has different names of stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's see. Who is next? Inkspots, do you want to do Photoshop next?
Yeah, we can do Photoshop next. Let me share my screen here. I just had a trifecta of update, so let's see how well everything works. We got the Wacom, Photoshop, and Windows update that all happened at once. So.
Oh, mate, the new Windows update's hell. It fucked
So
all
it's
my settings up.
Yeah, I mean, I wish all you companies need to get along because you're fucking all of our shit up, guys. Stop it.
Welcome to the stream, Vinny Art. Hey, brother.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
What's up, Vinny?
How we doing, everyone?
We
Doing great. How's it going?
Not too bad. Cool. What do we have here?
We have Michael Beacon, the Power Ginger, fellow brother Power Ginger. He is flatting a page of Tales from the Napverse in Krita. He's just showing one of the tools and how to use it and all that.
Okay, cool.
It's a process.
Nice.
So we're about to switch over to Inkspots here, and Inkspots is going to demo Photoshop. So
Sweet.
thank you
Everyone,
for that excellent demo, Michael Beacon.
Thank you.
everybody get your pants off and get ready.
Yeah.
Like
Whip
you need
them
to
out,
tell me.
everybody. All right. So what we got here is a page of cash grab as it is received from Donald DeLay, the awesome artist on the book.
Beautiful.
And the first thing I do when I get the page, it's all on one layer. It's flat. The blacks and the whites are all on one page. First thing I need to go to image mode, and I get it as a bitmap. So I need to change that first to grayscale.
I like
Okay.
black and whites get along.
In the color world, yeah.
I say just mix it all up till everyone's brown.
There
A
you go.
nice shade of brown. Okay.
Like a purplish gray. Though.
Once I change the bitmap to grayscale, now I can go ahead and change it to RGB color. I'm doing this under the image tab in Photoshop because I always work in RGB. And when I work in RGB, I also read the proof colors, and I have that set to CMYK so I can see what they're going to look like. I don't know why I do that. I just do that.
Let's seize on that for a second. Important step in Photoshop. If you do Control Y, Command Y, or go up into that view proof colors, you actually are still in RGB mode, but you're telling Photoshop, tell me what my colors look like in CMYK. So you can turn that off and on, and it does nothing to your file other than visually show you a different how the colors will render in CMYK mode. So if you're coloring in RGB and you're using colors you're not sure of, there's a way to check. Photoshop tells you you're choosing, but let's just say you selected a bunch of colors, you're not sure how they're going to look once they get converted. You turn that on, it'll change your bright fluorescent nonsense that you've selected and make it like muddy and dark, like, oh shit, that actually is not in the gamut of CMYK. So you can make better choices.
Exactly.
Okay, wait, I got a question then before you get into that.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, so you're going to see the colors darker for CMYK, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the proper way of correcting that if you're already in it like that? You know what I mean?
Color.
You just go.
So
go even lighter or something.
See my color wheel up here? Let's say I pick that color. Well, if you notice in my color wheel up here, you see this exclamation point right here? Mm-hmm. That's saying, whoa, buddy, that color will not print. So if you just click on that, it will move it to the closest color in the gamut to that will print. And then that color is safe to use.
That's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah, that's a good tip, guys.
It'll help you make better choices overall. And it'll save you time, too. You won't be surprised when you go, oh, shit, when you finally flatten it and go CMYK and everything goes, you won't be surprised.
And this isn't always on, guys. I'm pushing Control Y, so I go back and forth. I try to do most of my coloring in RGB, and then I just flip that on to kind of see how things are going. But I always check the gamut. I make sure that I'm using colors that will print. Okay, so now I got this page converted to RGB. The background's locked. That's how they come. So I double click it, hit OK, and now that's just Photoshop. The layer is always locked. That's what it does on the background layer. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna make a new layer. I'm gonna fill that layer with white. Edit fill. I'm gonna name that layer background. What I'm doing right now is I want to separate. I want to separate the blacks and whites.
Unbelievable.
Segregate.
So what I do right here, I hit Control A to select the whole layer. Control C. Then I go ahead and turn this back on. It's white again. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to go to my channels palette. This is the only time I ever use this. And now I'm going to make a new layer in my channels palette. And I'm going to go to Edit, Paste, Special, Paste in place. Now I just made a new channel with all that information in there. And the only thing that's...
Sorry, just very quickly, I have to say, because you have brought up special paste, so to continue the CG UK kind of ethos, I now have to say Jimmy Savile.
So I paste that in place.
Old school. This is an old school technique. I haven't seen this one in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't done this one in years.
And it's just because I don't like. I want my lines on a different layer, and this is the easiest way I found to do it. Mm-hmm. So I Control click on the picture in the alpha channel. Bam, selects it, and then I go ahead and delete that alpha channel. Bam, I don't need it anymore. Go back to layers. Control Shift I to invert the selection, and edit fill with black. Now what we've got here is, if I turn off my background, it's transparent. And so now I have my line and my
grayscale too.
Yep. Yeah, Donald's stuff has a bit of gray in it sometimes, so it looks better if you let some of that show through, and this helps. I don't know why.
You want to know a little secret?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
if you turn off your layers and go just back to your original line art.
Yeah.
So just the original one. Go to channels. Click the RGB icon there, the preview.
Does the same thing?
Same thing.
Shut up.
I was gonna say the same thing.
You know, I never do that because I have
what I used.
I have an action set up, so I don't.
Yeah. No, I get you. I feel you.
I usually just push one button and it does all that shit for me. So
You're just going through the steps.
I was going through the steps, but yeah, just do what they said because it's faster.
No, but I'm just saying, like that'll do the same thing. But
yeah. So
cheers.
the only reason the only reason I do that is so I can do my color holds later, which all that means is just to change the color of the lines. So that's it. So now that all that stuff that didn't need to be done is done, I like to. I go through and I lock all these layers here.
Okay.
Because I do that because I don't want to color on them by accident. And then I do a new layer above my background layer that's full of white and below my line art layer. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline each panel on its own layer with a different color. When I'm using my selection tools, you're going to want to make sure anti-alias is off and there's no feathering. The reason why you want to do that is if you have aliasing on, you're going to get a blurred line. And so if you put one color down, let me turn it on real quick. I'm going to turn it on. So I fill that. I have aliasing on. And then I'm going to go and make another color selection. I'm going to fill that with another color. And this is what you're going to get if you leave aliasing on. This white line. Yep. If you hand in flats like this, the Colorist is going to know right away you don't know what the hell you're doing and you're fired.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And point of failure is on multiple tools. You've got a magic wand that has anti-aliasing. You have a paint bucket that's got anti-aliasing. And your last one that has anti-aliasing. Make sure all of them are off during flatting.
Yep.
So yeah, on your paint bucket, you want anti-aliasing off, contiguous off, and all layers off.
Now, explain contiguous. What does contiguous mean?
Okay, well, let's see. Let me do a couple things here. Just make a couple. All right, so I have all these circles here, and they're filled with red. So I got my paint bucket tool here. If I have contiguous on and I want to change, say this is a skin tone in my whole page. I have the whole page done. I decide, I want to change that skin tone. And then, so I change the color and I go to click on one skin tone. It only changes that one spot if contiguous is on. All right. So if contiguous is off and you click on that, it'll change all those colors that are the same color to your new color. So it's an easy way to adjust all the colors of a specific tone in your whole page of flats, which is what I do. I've heard Ethan say before that the flatter picks the colors. The flatter does not pick the colors.
That's not true.
No, the only
as well.
For me, the only thing the flatter's doing is he's making selection, or she is making selections for me, so that my job is easier and I can select all the skin tones, all the costume elements in the whole page with one click of the button with my magic wand tool. And that's all that you're really doing. We were talking about this earlier. The only reason to be a flatter is if you want to get further into comics. You're not going to make a living as a flatter unless you live maybe in a third world country, and then you might make enough to live off of it. Who knows? Okay. So your whole goal in being a flatter is you're helping that colorist, you're learning from the colorist, and you're getting your foot in the door, because if you go and you get your coloring skills up and you go to you want to get a coloring job, you can say, hey, I worked on this other book before, and then you have like sort of a resume, and if you're a good flatter, your colorist will back you up and help you get that job. So you're trying to get your foot in the door. That's what flatters do, and this is a great way to do it. So like I said, I'm going to get my selection tool, and each panel I'm going to fill with a color, and I'm going to fill it with a different color. I don't really care what those colors are right now. I'm just making selections. And there's a reason why I'm doing this, and I'll tell you in just a second. And you ever screw up on a live demo before?
All the
So
time.
here's what I want to do. Every time Every time I fill a new panel, I want to do it on a new layer. And these layers will be flattened later on, but this is going to make your flattening process faster. So I'm just going to do those two. So I got the green one on one layer and the purple one on another layer. All right. The reason why I do that is because I want to come back through here, and I'm gonna flat each one of these panels individually. So let's start with the green one. So I'll turn. So I get over here to the green one, and we'll say that that's panel 3. I'm going to make a layer on top of that. I'm going to hit the Alt button, and I'm going to click on the line in between layer 1 and 3 here. So the layer is on top of the green background that I did. If I click on that, that's going to automatically make a clipping mask. What a clipping mask means is I can make a selection in here, and I can click on this. It's not going to put any color besides inside what the clipping mask is. So
I feel like I'm in an episode of Color with Kurt now.
It's similar to locking transparency.
Yeah, it is, but I like to keep them all on separate layers. It makes it easier as I go along. Okay, so now what I'm going to come in here and do is now I have this as a clipping mask. I'm going to go ahead and fill this with whatever I want my background color to be. And some people are going to give you a palette of colors they want you to use. Some people won't. For me, I only use flats as a selection tool. That's it. I don't use it for anything else. So the first thing I come in and do is I put whatever background color I want to be in the background, and then I will go ahead and outline my character. I always outline my characters first so I can separate my characters from the background.
And see, I notice you're ending your lasso selections quite frequently.
Yeah, I want to be accurate with this, so I'm going to zoom in, and if you hold the shift button while your lasso is selected, you can do part of a selection, then go back in and do another part of a selection. It's going to add it to that.
Am I right in thinking that in Photoshop then if Alt will do the opposite?
Yeah, so if I accidentally select out here, I press the Alt button, you'll see that by my lasso there's a minus sign. Now you can go in there and deselect that part. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this real fast. I'm not going to be real accurate, just so you can see. Okay, and so usually I go ahead and just fill each character with their skin tone, because it's usually all my characters are usually different skin tone. So I do that, and the reason why I do that is I just made it a selection within a selection. So if I come in here now, and I want to do a red on his costume, I can make a selection even into that green. So now if I use the paint bucket tool with these settings, I want to make his costume red. I click on it. It only colors the selection that I have that skin tone. So if I were to go ahead and click on the green, it would only color the green. The paint bucket tool can tell. So whatever color you click on, every color that you have in the selection that is that color will change to whatever new color you put on it. So if I click the green, it's going to turn red. If I click the skin tone, it's going to turn red.
You want to also make sure up at the top to your paint bucket has a sensitivity. Have it like how many pixels of sensitivity it'll look at their neighbors, and it'll add to the selection based on that. So what are you at right now? What is it? 4? I can't tell. under sensitivity for the bucket.
Oh, it doesn't have that on the new Photoshop. It doesn't have that up there in the options anymore.
What?
No. That's what I was looking at when I did this demo. The settings are all different, but it worked straight out of the box for me, so I haven't really messed with it.
I wish when we were painting this house, Mrs. F worked like that, because the amount of paint spilled.
Yeah, I have my tolerance to 0 all the
That's
time.
what I'm referring to, tolerance.
Yeah, I have my tolerance to 0.
Okay. So it looks for an exact match. It will
An exact match.
Exact matches.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so you just keep doing that. So now if I go in here and I color this red, I'm not making exact selections here. So if I color this, I'm going to get this in here too. So now if I color this red, all right, now I want to come back in here and color this white. So I can go into the green. I can make a large selection there, come into the red. Now, if I color this, I'm going to show you something right here. So I'm going to make it green, blue. Now, right here, I kind of traced this line again. So if I turn off the line work, you can see in here, I have a stray pixel. You don't want to do that either. They're going to tell you're not a good color flatter right off the bat if you have stray pixels. What I did wrong is see how I have this selection in the line here. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure if any color goes into another color. So in the red, I'm being careful. When I get to the green, I just want to make a large selection and select all that. Mm-hmm. That way, see if I move my line, I'm selecting all this red in here. And when I paint this another color, everything that's red is going to change color. And I don't accidentally not get any red out here. So I don't have any stray pixels in here of red that I'm missing. You don't want to do that. You get a nice hard transition between the two colors. And so you do that. And I mean, that's pretty much the way you go. And the more colors you get, the more selections you have. So it's easier each time to color something, because now I can select the green, the yellow, and then get in here to the red and the skin tone. And now I can change this color here. Say I want to make it blue. Boom, it's only changing anything that's red that I click on. But it didn't change the yellow, didn't change the green. So the more colors you get in there, the faster the page starts to go. Mm-hmm. And so then when I'm done, I do this to every single panel. Like here with all these characters, I would go ahead and make my clipping mask. When all these are done, I flatten this all down to one layer except for the line work. The line work stays on its own layer. And then all this stuff I would flatten down into one layer. You can do that by just selecting all the layers you want, pressing Control E, flattens them down into one layer, and then go ahead and save this as a layered TIFF, because I always like the line work on top, at least I do. And so you got a layered TIFF, send that off to the colorist, and you're ready to go.
Nice.
Yep.
Excellent.
Hopefully that was not too confusing.
No, that's great stuff. So the takeaway from that, I believe, if you want to do a little bit of pre-work, you can separate your lines onto a separate layer by doing the layer setup that Inkspots did. Control clicking the RGB channel, pasting, select inverse, paste. You'll get an exact duplicate of your line art with no white pixels. It'll just be black. Then you won't need to set it to multiply. You can still, but you don't need to. I still would set it to multiply. But and then from there, that sets you up for later when you want to do color holds. Like let's say you've got some smoke. You want to go and make that smoke gray on the line art itself. You now have a way to do that. And then separate each individual panel into a different color for big selectable zones. Then select each one of your little characters, fill them, select smaller zones, fill them, all without anti-alias. That is the most important part of the whole lesson. Yep. Anti-alias on every tool during the flatting process needs to be off forever for all of them. Until you're done flatting, keep them off. So,
And you don't need to worry about picking colors unless the flatter gives you a color palette, because more than likely all those colors are getting changed as soon as the colorist gets your work. So, yep.
Nice.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go because Chris just woke up for our morning show with the guy from Hammer.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be at 11, but he just woke up. So it's probably gonna be my fault again.
Well, thank you for coming in today, brother. Is there anything you want to say or promote or
Yeah,
a
go
mailing?
back Tales from the Adverse. It's at 55% now. So let's go get it back, and let's get that 20K where we unlock the swimsuit special.
Ooh.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's gonna be sexy as fuck. And the more
Sexist
we
as
go up,
fuck.
the more I add people, and all my friends, I'm gonna approach and pay all my friends to be in that swimsuit special gradually. So be aware.
I'll get my
Still
phone
show-
ready.
Nice.
So later, and keep it up. I'm gonna watch it because there's a few tips in there that work good for me too.
Appreciate you, brother.
Later, guys.
Later,
See ya.
son.
Later.
All right, so we've got Captain Fuckhead. He is going to demo Clip Studio Paint.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like this page, but I've only selected this page so I can tell Odie to fuck off at the end of it. Scotsman sends me a page. The first thing I do is I duplicate the lines. So I have two sets of lines, and they're both set to multiply, and they're both locked, so I can never fuck them up. But I have one at 50% and one at 100%, simply in case I want, particularly with Odie's work, if I need to go in so I can still see through the lines while I'm flatting. That's the only reason why I do that.
Well, that's an old page with screen tone still in it.
Is that all gone now, is it?
Oh, yeah. It's all gray wash now
Okay.
because moire patterns, as you can see.
Yeah. So the first thing I do is I have a what's it called? A layer at the bottom. There we go. I lost my brain because I was
It's
reading
not
the word.
just me. It's not just me.
It's not. I was reading the word paper and then I realised it's digital art, and I was like, "What?" So yeah, I have a layer at the bottom which I I call it paper, and it's just a white background because it allows me just to. So I've got one. Then I have another layer which is the main page background, and then I have a layer which I highlight the panels on. You can see there, and then I have my flats on top of that. There's a couple of ways in Clip. If I unlock that layer, so this is the 100% inks layer, but you can see it's set to multiply there as opposed to being split. If I set it to normal in Clip, I can go to edit. I don't do this. I set it on multiply, and there's a thing here that says convert brightness to occupant. I can't say the word. I'll just click it, and then you wait a minute. Streaming at the same time.
Black belt. That's the whole point of the show, brother. Appreciate you.
You wait a minute because you're streaming at the same time, and then you can see it's taken out all the white out of the lines.
Mm.
But I do not do that. That is not what I do. I just set it to multiply. But that option is there if you are using Clip Studio and you wish to do so. The main selection tool I use, so top left up here, look, I'll change it so it flashes. See where I am?
Mm.
So I've got this little gadget called a Clip Studio Mate, I think it's called, and this has sped up my time like immensely. It's unbelievable. So I have just have a polyline that I use, and you can see the anti-English setting is off, which really annoys me all the fucking time. But I don't just use the polyline. I do use the lasso tool sometimes, but I generally just stick to the polyline. But what the little gadget does is I keep hearing everybody saying you control X, control Y, control whatever fucking shift to get different tools. I just press a little button in my gadget and it changes it for me. So the first thing I have set up is my filler tool, my paint bucket, and you can see where my mouse is here, anti-English is off. And it was also at the top, it says apply to connected pixels only, which my assumption now is that that's contiguous in Photoshop, because there's no need for such a fancy word. This sentence says everything you need to say to normal people who don't know big words. And like Ink was saying, if you've got colours the same on the page, if it's apply to connected pixels, it'll only change one of them. You can turn that off so you can change all the colors at the same time. The other tools that I have connected to my little gadget is I have a pen, which I do use every now and again when I'm flatting, but again, anti-English off. I have my selection tool, the little magic wand, again, anti-English off, applied to connected pixels only on. And then if I put my little mouse here, on a mouse pen, I also have my grabbing tool, which allows me to move stuff around. I think you just press spacebar for doing that. But the reason why I do that is so that while I'm selecting, I can move it about if I need to. Because the thing with doing this sort of stuff with Odie's work is you have to go in quite a lot to see what's going on. Because sometimes lines aren't really lines, and sometimes there's 3 lines where there really only needs to be 1 line. But that's just Odie's work, and it's a pleasure to work on.
It's like walking up to the plate in baseball with like 5 weights on your bat, and then get to when you take the swing with the bat without the weights, you're like, holy shit, I feel like a god.
But I work in a similar way to Inkspots. In fact, pretty much exactly the same. So, bearing in mind, I'm new to all of this, so my concentration is more to do, particularly with the way that Scotsman's going around finishing the colours, is to do with the characters and the main sections, like this big fucking orb you see at the top here. But I work in exactly the same way as Inkspot. So the first thing I do on every panel is I go in with this skin tone, and I look for all the characters, and they all get coloured that colour. And that's my first step once I've got my panels and my page done. And again, it's the same reason why Inkspots was saying, so that once you've got the skin tone in, every time you make a selection and you want to change the colour, it's only going to change. There we go. Be on the right layer, moron. It's only going to change the actual skin tone because it's on that layer. There is, I know you were mentioning earlier on about lines and stuff like that as well. Over here we have a little transparency lock button, which will allow you, so if you are doing color holds and stuff like that, you can actually, as long as you've got no white in your lines, you can do the edit thing I did earlier. You can just click on that, and then that means that you can't paint outside. That's not locked. Look, I can show you. See.
Nice.
So you can use that if you're doing color holds. The reason I also use my pen occasionally, not occasionally when it's with Odie, is for this fucking reason. You try selecting them with a polyline or a lasso, you'd be there for days.
Yeah, he's a fan of the glass shards and the water droplets.
Look at it all. Look how much there is. And the worst part of that, right? If I turn that away, if I get rid of all of that, and you look at this, and you go, well, I can see maybe 30 or 30 there. Even if you zoom in a bit, you're like, well, yeah, maybe 30 odd. And then no, you look at the actual finished flats, and you think, fuck off, Odie. Look at it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And this is the fucking first book I flatted, by the way. You prick. Makes me so mad. I have requested
master after this, though. You gotta look at it that way.
This is true, but I have requested to Liam that if I flat any more Xenotype books, that the next one is set in either a country or a different world where it's not so hot that you sweat, but also nice and mild that it doesn't rain.
And there's no glass on those planets.
Yeah, there's no glass.
The rain is actually tied to the story, right? The rains come when the Alnaga come. So
I know
that's part of the story.
Spoilers.
It's not a spoiler. It's been said numerous times on numerous streams.
It's in every fucking page. There isn't a page where it's not there.
Right.
But yeah, look, it's the same. It's exactly the same process as Spotty was saying. It's you've got to avoid getting anything in between the colours. That's the key thing, and it's that anti-English button, fuckers, is the way to do it. Simple as that. And then work from big to small. Once you've got your main selections in each of your panels, and you just get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Never the other way around, because you will fuck it up.
It gets faster and faster.
Yes.
Start with big shapes, move to smaller and smaller and smaller shapes.
Yeah.
That way you can utilize your lasso contiguous selections and paint bucket sensitivities to fill things quicker. Yeah.
And I'm also going to say, because I always have the lines locked, both the 50 and the 100 locked. But I am now, from now on, thanks to Spotty, I am going to lock my page, my paper. I'm going to lock my page, and I'm going to lock my panels. And now I can never fucking flat on the wrong layer again.
Yep.
Ale, brother.
Because you don't know
Ale.
how many fucking times I've done that.
I know it's a fucking. This is the reason why I didn't need to do that, do I? Because I can press the button here. Why I have my magic wand tool set to anti-English at the same time. Because if I do that, then I know I can select the mistake and then recolor that the color it's supposed to be, and I can also cut and paste it up and into the next layer.
Right.
So that I can drag it from the panels back into the flats, so it's in the right place, and then I can recolor the panels with ease.
SE Tonics in the chat says, "What's the best way to separate line art from the white background on a flattened image in Clip Studio?" I think you demoed that, but like, there are two ways. You can either just set it to you can set it to multiply if you're flattening. It's one way of doing it, and it's get to the right layer. But if you go to edit, and then you go down to convert brightness to, say that word for me, somebody.
Opacity.
There you go. I just want to see occupancy. You see, and then click that, and then wait for 5 minutes.
And it selects all the pixels.
Well, it basically removes anything that's not black. Or has any element of white in it. It takes all of that out so that you end up with this.
Gotcha. And just so for the chat, so everybody in the chat understands, in terms of black and white, Photoshop and most other image editors, they look at black and white as on or off. It's binary, on or off. So black is, when you're talking about masks, anything that's black on a mask is invisible. Anything that's white on a mask is visible. And every varying shade of gray from white to black is a varying level of opacity. So whenever you have, let's say, 20% gray, that's the same as 20% opaque, right? So from black to white is varying on or off as far as visibility is concerned. So when you're talking about that right there, control clicking or making a channel selection of your line art, it will select not just black as 100%, but all the grays in between and all the pixels that are percentages of gray. Those percentages of gray translate to percentages of opacity. So when you do that fill, all of those semi-transparent pixels that were grays turn their opacity whenever you make your final color holds panel, I guess you could call it, which is your duplication of your line art. So,
yeah, and once you've if that's what you're wanting it for, once you've converted your page to convert brightness, this little button over here on the right, your transparency lock, and then technically you should just be able to, using the right color.
And the transparency lock does not allow you to paint anything on pixels that don't have any tone at all on them. And you can only paint the percentage of opacity of that pixel in the transparency lock. So if it's 20% opaque, you paint over it, 20% of the color you're going to put on it is going to be visible.
Yeah, it just changes, literally just changes the color. This thing that you're looking at is exactly the same as it was previously, just in a different color.
Excellent. Well, that's great.
And, I can't recommend, if you do use Clip, I cannot recommend the Clipmate enough. Because I hate keyboard short. The Clip Studio Clipmate, it's called. It's like a little Wii controller, you know, the Nintendo Wii thing. It's like a little one of them.
Make sure you get the Clipmate.
That is Clip.
Oh, okay.
But no, there are other versions of stuff like you can. I know you can on with Windows. I know you can set up Xbox controllers and stuff like that as well. But the speed, the amount of time that having one of these little gadgets saves is incredible. Like yeah, I can't recommend them enough. Like, and you can particularly with the ClipMate, it's got 4 different modes, so you can set it up for 4 different types of work. If that makes sense. So I've got one set up for flatting. I can have a different program set up for drawing. I can have a different program set up for coloring, and you just click a little button and it changes between the programs, and then all the buttons do different things.
So it's like a favorites palette kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's just I just set it up for all the favorite tools that I use when I'm doing the whatever part of the process I'm doing, and then it's just remembering which button is which. But you pick that up very quickly once you set it up. But it
Now,
just
is that
saves so much
from the
time.
content library, or is that a downloadable plugin that you got to go to?
No, if you get a clip, particularly the ClipMate, you just go down to File. There you go, TabMate. That's what they call it. The TabMate controller, and you just set it up. You click on one of them, and you get a big list of how you want to set the buttons up. You just set the buttons up the way you want them, and off you go. That's why I recommend the TabMate particularly, because it's already set up to go. It's not a And they come with default options, but it's already set up to work with the software. It's not a case of having to go in and find ways of making it work. You just set it and go.
Turn it on, sounds like.
Yeah, it's glorious. Like, I love it.
Well, that's good stuff. All right, so that's Clip Studio Paint from Captain Fuckhead. Last is me on Procreate. So let's see. I'm gonna swap my camera.
Fuck off, Odie. Look at it all.
To this right here.
If I'm going to be disappointed, Scotsman, when I don't see this page in the book and I don't see a reflection of an eye on each one of these little pieces.
Oh, okay, we'll get there.
Challenge accepted.
So let's see. So I've got right here a camera on my iPad. So I've imported a page, a black and white page right here from my iCloud. I keep all of the art in iCloud. This is just a blank line art piece. You can see it's got one layer. So when I begin to flat a page, and the reason I do it in Procreate is because I take advantage of literally every scrap of time that I get, and I flat in the car, I flat sometimes while I'm eating dinner, and sometimes I flat in those tender moments in the
While you play Minecraft.
I try to take use of all the time I have, right? So I've imported a black and white flattened TIFF, and it's already in RGB mode. So we want to make sure you switch it in RGB.
I should mention it. Actually, sorry to interrupt, but Clip Studio pretty much only lets you work in RGB. There are ways you can manipulate it to work in CMYK, but it's set up as a piece of software to only really work in RGB.
Okay. Well, that's good to note. So my first step is, after I get it in here, I go ahead and just rename this to inks. And then add a new layer, bring it down below. Oops. Like that. Set this blend mode of the inks layer to multiply. Like that. And this is going to be flats. Oop. Retarded. There we go. All right, so now I've got 2 layers in the file. One set to multiply, one set to the flats. Now, you do not have the ability to turn off anti-alias in Procreate. That's one of the biggest irritations in this program. The only gripe I have is not having anti-alias. So if you were to use your lasso tool, right? This tool right here to make a selection, right? You can see the marching ants kind of barely. That selection there. Wait, is this not in RGB mode? What the fuck? Hold on. You know when you mess up live on TV?
Yep. Big spots. Tell how it works.
Is it? Color profile. Dot gain. Motherfucker.
And this is how we color.
It is.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
when you're flatting pages, the word "fuck" is just like an coming out all the time. Yeah.
Get better, brother.
Okay. Well, fuck. We'll go with this one. We'll go with this one then. Actually, let me do this. We'll get fancy here. Select, duplicate. We're not
I've
gonna.
had moments where I painted things completely on the wrong layer.
Ugh.
A ton of work. I'm like, motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah, painting's a whole other beast because once you screw up on a painting and you don't have that selection to go back on.
Oof. Yeah. That's the worst.
Yeah, I've developed a strange style. 'Cause I just do pretty much, I multiply, then I make a new layer, and I just start my painting.
Yeah, when I do digital paintings, I do the same thing.
Yeah, it's easier that way, and that's what I've been doing. And since I sequential work, I do mostly by myself anyway, so I don't have to make any giant changes,
Right.
Yeah.
monumental changes, so I could just kind of go with what I'm doing. I normally start with backgrounds, and then I start working my way up.
Yep. And a lot of times when you're digital painting, you want some of that background color to come through. It just brings everything together. So
Right.
Absolutely. Or some of my line work as well.
yeah.
It depends.
So, okay, so we have this page basically back to where we were. We've got our inks layer set to multiply at about, some random lesser opacity so I can see through them. And then, again, like I was saying, with the lasso tool, right? You make a complex selection. And what the fuck is wrong with my lasso here? Hello? Okay, so we've got a selection here. We do a color drop on that, and we fill it. But notice, bum, bum, bum. That's the worst, right
The
there.
English are coming.
Right. Right. And as a Scotsman, I get fearful. So we don't want that. So in order to not have that, we actually can't use the lasso in Procreate, which sucks.
Oh.
We make us a flatting brush. This is a special thing right here. This flatting brush. This is where the shape dynamics are set up as a blank square, and the grain dynamics are set up as a blank square. That way you have no anti-aliasing, but you're using a box, right? So this flatting brush, I'll take, and let's say, actually, another thing, before I start, I usually will, I'll go and press the wrong fucking button again. I'll go and add insert file, or insert, actually, no, wait, here. I've got it in Procreate already.
I'm just getting more confused.
So
Nothing's happened.
I keep a palette that I pass from me to Cap, and as I build it out, I keep it, right? I keep adding to it. And these are all my colors for all of my characters, and I keep adding to it. And the reason I don't use the palette function in each one of the programs is because I like to have the pixels sitting on the canvas so that they're subject to the ICC profile. So I'll know immediately if there's a color shift. So copy, go back to my page.
I should say, while you're finding the right page again, I do exactly the same thing. So when I started doing this for Scotsman, he already had certain colours laid down. So I'm now in the habit of, I always have a separate layer just purely for a palette. And then I'll bring that palette every time I'm into a new page. I just copy and paste it from the last page into the next page and just keep adding to it and building and building and building it. And I do that on everything that I work on now. It just
helps for color
immediately a habit.
consistency. Yeah, there's a million ways to do it different or better or whatever, but I just keep this palette and copy it from page to page as I go. That way I can zoom in here and let's say, these skin tones, I touch and hold, I select the skin tone, then I go in here and I get my flatting brush that has no anti-alias, that's a blank square. I go in and I make sure it's at 100%, and then I start to draw, right? But here's the thing. If I draw a line, I'm on the right. No, I gotta go below here. Fuck. There we go. Okay. So now I go underneath and I'm drawing a line, and I go like this, and I drag and drop. Draw a line. Drag and drop. Make sure you don't get any errant pixels. Drag and drop. And you can make the sensitivity of the color drop go bigger or smaller by holding it. And you'll notice the threshold line at the top there. If I drag my finger right or left, it'll make it more sensitive. Or drag my pen left or right, it'll make it more sensitive. Same idea. And now when I start to get pieces that are next to each other, I can start just slicing it up a bit at a time. Got one errant pixel there. So Procreate, for me, flatting is really fucking fast because it's all strokes of a pen. You know what I mean? Obviously I wouldn't do little selections like this, but just for the sake of, just the sake of demo here, we could do broad shapes like this and then subtract out with a different color, with a different color for these guys here.
Yeah, that's a wiser move.
If we wanted to do start big and go smaller, but you can be granular with it by, drawing, small shapes and doing color drops first and then filling big around it by going, and if you touch and hold on your previous color or on your color palette, it'll swap to the previous color you selected. I'd selected a different one, or we can do that. Now, if I draw a box around this, boom, and fill right around it. And because it's only going to fill the transparent pixels, it'll leave that alone. So,
and something you said about,
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you said this goes pretty fast for you. I would say also, if you're going to be a flatter, get fast at it, because the colorists are always pretty much the last person in the pipeline. We're not getting one page at a time. We're getting between 5 and 20 pages at a time usually. And so we don't have a lot of time to wait for you to get the pages back to us. They got to get done fast, because we got to get that done fast, because we're usually on tight deadlines with the color. We're the last ones. Everybody's waiting on us, and we got to get those pages in. So, yep.
So that's how I flat in Procreate. Just big swoops, and change your brush size here. If you want a bigger, thicker line, chunkier line, you do that, so it's not so delicate. And I'll flat a perimeter shape like this. Just go around the object, and again, the reason I make my line art semi-transparent, so I can see the middle of the line. I know that I'm not in the other color. I know, or the other zone. I know I'm still within the broader shape that I started in.
Is this your program of choice?
For flatting?
Yeah.
I flat in Procreate more than I flat in Photoshop, yes.
Okay.
Because, I can do this anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, I try to use as many spare moments as I can to get work done. And I can sit on the couch and watch TV, hang out and flat as I'm watching a show and be comfortable in my living room, and then come into the studio and do the rendering work. So I'll give Cap, I'll give him 5 pages, and then I'll flat the next page after that tranche of 5 if I don't have any other pages to render, or I'll start flatting that one automatically, just because I know I'm going to have spare moments here and there, and then I'll give him the next 5 after that. So, but again, it's most important. The most important thing is to make sure you have a brush with no anti-alias. That's the most important part.
You can do it You can do it this way in clip as well, just so people know. Like I was saying earlier on, one of the things I use, especially if I'm doing the glass or water on Odie's work, is I use a pen rather than actually using a lasso tool or anything like that. So there are brushes in clip that you can turn anti-alias off with, so you can flatten exactly the same way as he's doing now.
So I was kind of
same
wondering.
thing with
Yeah.
Photoshop.
I was kind of wondering for both you and Ink, when you actually put color underneath black, does that ever show up on the print? Like if you had say a wash of black, part of it has a color going underneath of it, would you see that difference when it actually prints out? Or does
Only
it
if you don't have 100% black there.
Oh, okay.
What you might run into is something called overprint fill. So basically what that means is depending on how the plates are made and how the film is ripped, the person doing the pre-press, if they make the film with overprint fill on, that means that any ink of any color anywhere is going to be put down, and ink has a thickness to it. So if you put down black and then you put down yellow, well, obviously there's black under the yellow, and yellow is not as dense as the black, so it will muddy the yellow. So you want to make sure that you don't stack colors on top of each other. Just as a rule of thumb. Now you can, like if you put multiple colors on top of each other on different layers, and the opacity of the layer covers up the colors underneath. If the film is made without overprint on, then there will be no color of another ink color underneath it. But ink does stack on top. If it is present, it will be there, and it will change the colors. But overprint fill is I think what you're asking about. But that's a printer level thing. That is not an artist level. But this is the thing. I worked in printing for a long time, and our artists they'll go like they give us files and they go, well, why didn't this print right? Well, because you didn't set up your file right. You know what I mean? A lot of that responsibility falls on the artists themselves, but you have to tell your printer, that if you enable your files overprint fill off whenever you give them the files, they're not going to turn it on. But if you have it on, then you give them something with stacked colors, you're going to get garbage in your print. Mm-hmm. So overprint.
Now, if you hand in a flattened image TIFF, everything's on one layer. There's not going to be any layering, right?
Right. That's an important thing to note.
Yeah, because every time I hand in a file, I hand in a flattened file where everything's one layer. It's a TIFF, and so there shouldn't be any problem with that.
Right. So let's say now I've got this whole edge defined here. If I go in here and I go up to this edge and I make sure there's no transparent pixels, and I go over here and I go up to this edge, make sure there's no transparent pixels, and I draw a line like this, and I drag and drop, it now fills all those. So, and another cool thing in Procreate, I didn't say this, I do also add the backgrounds and solid page. I just skipped ahead because we've already covered that ground. One of the things that Procreate has in it that I really love is the autocorrect line. So if I start over here and I make a line and I drag and pull and hold, it automatically corrects it and turns it into a straight line, right? If I move that and drop it, I can go edit, zoom in, and position this right on the edge of this color, and right on the edge of that, right in the middle of the line. Go over here, drag and hold, corrects, move it to there, edit shape, drag this here, connect those two lines together, put this kind of where I want it, switch back to my brush, and then let's just say we're going to rough cut it. We're just going to go up here, and we'll go to this just for the sake of argument here. Now we have no transparent pixels, drag and drop, and now we've got a complete color fill. So this line correction is excellent. It's really cool. The other thing too is if you make when you're drawing, if you do a circle like this and hold, it'll automatically turn it into the closest matching ellipse. If you make arc like this, hold, it makes it into an arc that matches that trajectory. And you can even edit that shape and then reposition it. So drawing in Procreate, coloring in Procreate, super easy. Get yourself a flatting brush. It's basically the same process, only you're using an Apple pen or a stylus and your fingers, but I like the ability to go, like if the bottom part of this panel here, if I go and make my brush a little bigger, go here, kind of touch that color there, and then you could do it that way, or you could just draw a line, hold, move it, edit, touch the color, go here, put it in the middle, same idea, draw a line, don't even care. Drag and touch.
Drag and touch.
Drag and touch.
Just a tip.
Switch
So
touch.
what I'm getting is if you want to go balls deep and flat at the same time, use Procreate, right?
Yes, exactly.
And you never pull out, man. That's why it's called Procreate.
That's right.
Is this the only program that could do something like that with the lines?
Well, Procreate has it. That is a specific thing to Procreate. The autocorrect.
Mhm.
If you pull and hold, it just says, "Oh, you want to." If you hold it long enough, it goes, "Oh, okay, you want to fix that line."
It's like
And then
vector
if you-
drawing, basically. That's because if you draw in vector, if you use something like Coral Draw,
Uh-huh.
you can do something very similar. But again, you're working exclusively in vector rather than working in anything else.
Bitmap, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think you have any shape dynamics on there, but even if you do, like if you start thin, you go wide, taper off or something, it holds that weight across the line as well as you do like that transit, like that arc, or you lengthen it out, it'll hold that same shape to it as well.
Yeah. I use the when I ink, I use the Studio Pen. I've made some edits to its properties. So if I'm inking a page in Procreate, let's do this. I use this Studio Pen, and its dynamics are fantastic. So you can see it'll correct your lines. You can see it kind of pulling it like wet ink. It's doing an auto correction. So you can do that, or it's got great it's got great sensitivity.
Mhm.
I love the Studio Pen actually. And I mean I've inked a bunch of things. This was something I was playing around with for Phil Diaz.
Nice.
Sweet.
One of his things from the Lost Pages.
Mhm.
Like, channeling a little Tim Townsend here with the chin hair.
Yeah. Totally does it.
So
I just talked to him recently too.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing all right.
So, but that's all inked in Procreate. But so yeah, so flatting in Procreate, that's how I do it.
Bless you.
So, create
Thank
a
you, Vinny.
bring in your line art, set it to a semi-transparent, bring in a palette if you're going to use a palette, if you have one from page to page. Create a flats layer, set your ink layer to multiply. Use your flatting brush with no anti-alias. Do a flat shape. That way it has no gray pixels on the edge. And use the auto correction to box out big long areas. Color drop fill. If you drop and fill and hold, you can slide the transparency back and forth, or the sensitivity. It'll adjust from gaps if there are similar pixels. so you can bring it back to where it won't jump. So but that's how we do it. So we covered Photoshop, Clip Studio, Krita, and and Procreate. So that's great stuff.
Yeah, if I had one tip about flatting, it would be get good enough at coloring that you can just hire someone else to do your flats.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well, I mean, you don't always have that luxury though, right? So
no, I still have to flat. You always have to flat, probably.
Sometimes your mate, he just had a few too many brews the night before, and he wants to take a day, right?
Yeah, a lot of flatters live in, like I was saying, they live in third world countries. They don't always have internet access.
It's not a third world country, ink spots.
No, I'm not.
You leave him alone.
No, my previous flatters, one was in Ecuador, Mexico, and China, and all three of them are constantly lose internet access. So, and then I got to flat myself.
Isn't that what Marvel does too? They just hire from those countries.
Well, it's hard to find flatters in the U.S. I think, and you can't make that much money at it. So, unless you're like motivated and you want to get into comics, and they're like, I want to get my foot in the door any way I can. Flatting's a good way to do that.
Yeah,
so
it's a shame.
Flatting is, and you should look at it that way. Like it's an apprenticeship in a way. You have a close relationship with a colorist. You form a friendship. You send him your work, and he or she gives you tips and tricks, and you start to learn their style. You start to learn what they're expecting. You get better and better at your own stuff. You get faster and faster, and then you land your first book, and that's just the way that goes. Some people they like to flat casually just for fun, just to say they work in comics. That's fine too, but use it if you do want to become a professional colorist or you want to get into comics. Starting as a background inker, you can do that. I did that back in the 90s. You want to get into coloring, be a flatter. That's kind of the stepping stones to earning your stripes in a way.
Go to Indonesia and then become a flatter.
You have to be able to live on $10 a month somewhere.
That's it. That's the secret.
For as much as a cup of coffee, you too can be a flatter.
Who wouldn't want to be, live the glamorous life of a comic book artist?
Right.
Even a colorist, I mean, you're not going to make very much money, guys. You're not going to make much money.
It's all about prestige. It's all about gaining prestige. And
yes.
if you don't.
But you know what? Those writers, they need to get millions. They have to. That's it. You can't take anything away from them to give to the other creatives working on the book.
Well, I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship. We got to recognize that, right? Artists.
No, writers are the most important people in comic books.
Comic books are a visual medium. But let's be honest, if the story sucks, it doesn't matter how good the art is. People will go, wow, that's cool, but I'm never going to read that again because I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So there's a symbiotic relationship. But I don't think that writers are more important than artists, and I don't think artists are more important than writers.
No, there should be an equal blend, and I think pay should reflect that on some level.
I would say that artists are more important than artists.
There are times where I have picked up a really poorly written comic book because I love the artwork.
Yes, me too.
It's not the other way around. I won't go, okay, this writing is so amazing, but the artwork I can't even tolerate. No, it's an eyesore. I'll fucking dump the book.
Here's what I would say: post your script up on Indiegogo and see if you get funded.
Yeah, just with the writing. Maybe Mark Wade could do that.
Well, I mean, perfect example. Red Gaze. He wrote a novel. What did he do? He hired Vinny fucking Tartamella to do a cover. So there you go. Right.
There's something to be said for sure, but like I said, to me it is that perfect blend.
Yeah.
So I think everyone should be have a closer pay rate. But I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of things wrong with the industry, and if we were to really break it down, I mean that could be a whole other stream.
Yep.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that covers it, guys. We covered the topic. We got flatting from 4 different perspectives, 4 different programs. We each boomered it at least once, I think. Either our hardware or our software, and I emphasis on the soft.
We love it hard. You know it.
And next week's episode, I want to go to rendering styles. Now, this is something we can get everyone involved in. As far as what is your rendering style? What do you like to emulate? Obviously, Vinny's a smooth painter, like a lot of smooth blends. Inkspot's similar vein. Digital painter. I think Lucius, you're pretty similar to that. I'm cut and grad, cell shade kind of a style. Michael Bacon, similar to me. Cap, you're a vector artist primarily right now, right? You do a lot of flat vector type of things.
I don't know what I am, if I'm honest. At this moment in time, I play a lot. When I started, everyone knows I hadn't drawn for so long. Then I found Comicsgate, gave me the motivation to get back into it. And when I started, I was doing what you would call the more painterly style, which I still love. So I'm still trying to work out where I'm going. I think what I'll end up being is smashing a whole load of things together.
Yeah, painterly is hard to pull off. It's both easier and harder at the same time, which is weird because it's easier because you're not making a bunch of lasso selections. You're building out your shapes with brush strokes, but it's harder because you have to be good at light and shadow. You can't hide behind a lasso.
Well, I think the first time I did that, I actually did build it. So I did kind of use the lasso kind of style. I kind of blocked out all my colors into one layer, like I would in a flat. But in a 3D, in more three-dimensionally, and then painted over the top of that. So there are ways and means.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes I'll be doing that too while I'm doing my painted style. I'll take the lasso tool and to get like the highlights and stuff on a cheek or a face. You know what I mean? So it depends. Yeah, depends on what you're going for, what you're actually painting.
Right. Well, that's good stuff. Well, let's do some promo here. Let's see. Going around the horn, we got Michael Bacon. Anything you want to promo today?
Yeah, 7 Legions is fulfilling now. But you can still buy it. There's about 160 copies left, and I'll be shipping them out almost as soon as you order them. And also Tales from the Natverse. I'm working on that. So is Scotsman and Sim. So yeah, that's.
I'll start, but yeah.
Yep. So yeah, back both those books.
Awesome. Captain.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I'll give you a little sheen square. It's nearly beer o'clock here. That's why it's 8 o'clock now.
Yeah.
You're not drunk.
Not yet. No. At the moment, there is still some blood left in my alcohol system, which I need to get drained.
Filter that out, man.
So I go on the Indiegogo, not Daredevil. There's an email list. We've figured out how to drain all the color from all the old shitty scans that float around on the internet. We figured out how to make the lines a bit sexier and put the color back in. So we can make it look more like a modern book as opposed to the shitty 72 DPI fucking scans you get off the internet. This is just like a prototype of one of the stories that's going to be in the book.
Is that guy riding a kangaroo?
That's like a boy, right?
In the original version of this comic, I do believe there is a line that says, "How can you not trust 4 naked boys in bed?"
I'm telling you right now, that dude on the kangaroo needs to have orange hair. He needs to have.
Not after what he said.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, well, excellent. So that's not Daredevil by Kami Mark. Is that right?
It is. Well, yes, it is. It's Kami Mark's words. We call it not Lev Gleason's world. Let's put it that way.
Very nice. Very nice. Next, we got Inkspots. He's got a little thing he wants to share. What the hell?
Little thing.
There we go.
Right now, Charlie's London has her sign up on the internet for her East Lane to Limelight campaign. So if you guys want to sign up for that, I am going to be doing the colors. I've already tapped Captain Fuckhead to help me with some flats on that. So it's going to be awesome, guys. She's got she's doing like an autobiography comic, I think. Yeah, and so it's going to be beautiful. We got Vinny doing some awesome art on there already, and then we have Donald T. DeLay did an awesome piece for her already on it. I think it's going to be a big campaign, so you don't want to miss that. Also, we got the hit Indiegogo project Cash Grab, Cecil's project that I am coloring, and we're at 225,000, so that's pretty awesome for Cecil anyway. You got the children's book up there that I didn't get that job. And you got all these beautiful pages that I colored, and he did give me a great shout out right here.
That's all you got? You didn't even get a paragraph?
No, but hey, in my defense, the guy that did the colors on the cover, he got a paragraph. So anyway, there you go. Sign up for
I'd love that to say colorist, ink spots in brackets, plumber.
With a question mark. So that's what if you want to go support me, go ahead and sign up for that mailing list, that cash grab, and that's all I got to say about that.
There's on the mailing list as well, there's a trading card. Once you're on the mailing list and you get the book, there's a free trading card coming your way, foil card as well. And I want to say that Chubb's also Carl from Mary Boys, we'll call him Chubb, has done another cover for that book as well. Which
nice.
All three of them are stunning.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, he signs his work, Chubb.
Yeah.
Oh. We got Vinny Taramella. Hey, Vinny.
Hey everybody! Yeah, I got a few books that are actually out right now as well. City of Venus, Dead City. I have
fucking book.
The Ghostly Manor on Howling Hill. I only have 12 copies of that left, so please grab that. It's on the same campaign. Through the Woods, my hardcover book, 98 pages, kind of done in that French format, so it's a little bit bigger. Yeah, everything's just beautiful in that. Working on my pirate book. Working on a cover for 3 nights, 4 days. That one's almost finished. Getting pretty close to finishing that one up. But yeah, I can actually show you that real quick too.
That's a variant cover for Micah's book?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Just, there's a little tease of it. So we're getting there. It's looking good, but I don't know how much of it I could show, so I'm going to stop the share right there. But
you've got blood on your hands, sir.
Well, yeah, we're gonna make that pop. I'm still working on it, but yeah, I'm gonna be I'm attached to a couple other big campaigns. I did the cover for Sunsworn. Please go check that one out. Fred Gaze, he needs a little bit less than $1,000 to get to his big stretch goal that everybody wanted, which was the audiobook. So yeah, give him a hand with that. If anyone's been getting what is it, Downcast, Clint's book, I got a piece in that as well. And I'm
too.
Yeah, it was the sequel. It's the very last page of the book. That full shot is mine. So yeah, check that out and keep an eye out too for Graveyard Shift. I have something in there, which is
nice.
Very, very cool.
Breaking news! I didn't know that was a thing. Really?
Yeah. Don't know if I should have said that either, but I didn't color this one. This is just traditional pencils and inks. So
nice.
I don't know who's coloring it at all. So we'll find out. But I think that's going to be an announcement a little bit later on. So we'll see.
You heard it here first.
Yes. Heard it here first.
Breaking news on Pixel Squishing. Great.
Right.
Last and not least, we have Lucius.
I might be the least. So really, the only thing I have as a output is my Twitter feed. I am at Jaw Smashers. I put up fan art on the regular. I have a couple of Graveyard Shift submissions to do for the fan art contest as soon as that goes live. And I also usually have a Monday night show called the Monday Night Fluffer. I usually have Ink Spots on there, sometimes Rotten Glory when he's not ghosting us.
Yeah.
I kind of keep it open to people who are good to have on. So any of you guys are welcome if you ever want to come on there. And beyond that, I don't really have any solid work to sell you, but I will just say this. Flatter lives matter, okay? Glory stuff. Flatter lives matter.
We're laughing because they don't.
Colorist lives barely matter, as evidenced by Ink Spots' glorious mention there on the, on the promo page. So,
Holy hell.
do you have any recent fan art that you've done this week or in the last week or so that you'd like to show, Lucius?
You know what? Fuck it. I'll send you a copy of the graveyard shift thing. I'll send it to you in Twitter DM. So keep an eye out.
Don't show anything you're not supposed to show. I don't want to show.
Oh no, it's all right. It's not like I'm getting paid for it.
Oh, it's fan art.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, fan art. Okay.
Hold on, it'll just take me a minute.
I got it here. Do you want me to show it, Lucius?
I kind of made some updates.
Oh, you got it updated.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
All right.
definitely want each artist on the panel to get some promo for their stuff, not just be here and just say words and stuff.
All right, I think it's sent to you in DM.
Oh, you DM'd it to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's pretty. Okay. Put that over there. And share that screen. Interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a wolf biting the graveyard shift logo.
Yeah, if you look at one of the main characters, what's his name? The vampire guy. His jacket has a patch on both arms of the graveyard shift logo. And I guess the new story is all about werewolves kind of overtaking the planet and stuff. So just something I just started sketching out, and I was like, that looks kind of cool enough. I'll just try it, throw it out there. It's kind of different from what I usually do. I usually go for more of a graphic look, but I was really digging. This is all Procreate and primarily the Oriental brush, and just working that back and forth.
Asian brush,
huh?
The Asian brush, not the Oriental brush.
Oh, you're not showing your other one.
Oh, I'm keeping that one closer to the chest.
That one's a secret one. He's got another one too that's pretty awesome.
So this is in Procreate. Let's see. Nice, dude. What size is this supposed to be? Comic book size?
Yeah, I do. Most of the time I work at 11x17. Even, I really liked your show last week, and I was kind of I always work usually in 600 pixel or 600 DPI. And I was just getting tired of working in 6 layers every time, because that's so
bitch about Procreate is it limits your layers if you have too high of a resolution. It's got
so I brought it down to 450 because it was kind of everyone seemed to be working way lower than I was, and if it was comic book size, to get reduced down anyway. But yeah, that gives me now I think 10 11 layers to work with, which is way more flexible for me to kind of shuffle things around and get an idea of separating out colors, opacities, and stuff like that. So it really allows you to tool with it more than what I'm usually used to, which is a line art layer, flat layer, and then I'm just doing highlight, shadows, and maybe a background or something like that.
That is actually a very important thing that was not said during this stream that we need to say right now. And I'm going to be really clear about this. Remember last week when we talked about setting up your page and your resolution? Make absolutely fucking sure you've done that before you start flatting.
Yeah.
Once you flat and you've got all those chiseled pixels with no anti-alias, if you change the resolution of that file, every one of those nice little chiseled selectable areas will turn into an anti-aliased fucking mess. It will divide the pixels and turn them into anti-aliased, like blurred edges. Don't
You won't just lose the job. You'll have the colorist come to your house and murder you.
make sure you're properly sized before. And once you're sized and you start flatting, do not change the resolution of that page. It will resample the entire thing and blur all of those edges. So we didn't talk about that. That's good job, Luce. You brought up a major important thing. So
Luscious, yes.
Luscious.
All right.
Adding to the strum.
Glad I could contribute, guys. Yeah.
Not just a pretty face. Look at that.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent.
I'm still yet to have a face reveal on Luscious.
Nope.
Yeah, that's right. You're gonna have to just imagine it in your head, you know?
Yeah, he's keeping it close to my belt.
Well, hey guys, on that lovely note, we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. We covered flatting today. We'll cover rendering styles next week. So pick out your favorite brushes and your favorite techniques, and we'll show those off next week. And the next step in the chain, after you've sized your page, after you've flatted your page, got to decide how you want to render it.
That's right.
So
You're gonna whip it out.
we'll do that next week. Anybody else got anything else they want to say?
Yeah, I also I uploaded on my YouTube channel, so go check out my new video. It's the second part of that Bella Thorne thing, which I thought was pretty hilarious. That's Vinny Art, so go check it out over there.
Yeah, make sure you tune in to Lucius's channel tomorrow, and we'll have our Monday night show.
Nice.
Sweet.
Well, that's good shit. Go ahead, Bacon.
Hardline tomorrow night on Zaid Comics YouTube channel.
Hard Line?
Yep.
Okay, that's a new one. I haven't heard of that. Is that a show?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. What's it about?
It's just we just hang out and talk stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no,
it's
I'm
like-
laughing at Liam. Look at Liam in there.
Yeah.
Color my book.
Yeah, I'm
Monkey
getting
boy.
poked already. I'm getting poked already. Well, on that note, I'm going to be coloring live here in a bit. I'm probably going to eat some lunch and then go live back on this channel and color some Xenotype. So everybody who wants to tune in, come in, slap me around a little bit and chat. Be fun times.
Yeah, I tuned in yesterday, but you were just playing Minecraft, so I tuned out.
Well, that's Saturday morning warm up, dude. I didn't get to do any gaming all week because I fucking worked every day, which was
4 hours, 4-hour warm up.
That's right. That's right. It's called Minecraft, dude.
I loved it.
I do that same thing. I'm like, I'm going to do a warm up painting before I start, and it's like 8 hours. Like, oh shit, that was.
But I did finish the entire page yesterday, so there you go.
Beautiful.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and we'll have more for you then.